There are stories that connect us to ourselves and to each other. These stories reveal who we are and show us the many vivid colors of our truth. Welcome to Soul Wanderings, where we raise spiritual awareness and foster connections through these shared stories and personal experiences. Now, exclusively on KGRA Digital Broadcasting, your hosts, AJ and Natalie.
Hello, Wanderers. Welcome to Wandering Wednesday, Soul Wanderings Night with AJ
and Natalie.
We're so happy to be here like we are every Wednesday night.
Yes.
Such a grand old time. I think we get that through to you every single week because we're so excited and happy to be here.
What's lovely is that it is every week. Like we're not faking this part. Not that we're faking any parts. If I say it that way, then
when we are here, that is. There have been times we haven't been here every week, but
it's true. Not much.
No, definitely not.
Right.
Like that big old crystal beaming over here my way.
Isn't it lovely?
Yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. I thought I'd help out by
amplifying the energy.
That's what crystal is for.
Yes. And I'm like, I'll get the incense going. The Palo Santo.
You give that, and I carry that around in my computer bag. So I was like, hey, let me pull this out.
Yeah, I love it. It feels good. I didn't even see it. I felt it. And then I looked over there going, what is that? Oh, that's a big ass crystal is what that is.
It's me.
Thanks for that.
I'm just a big ass crystal too.
You are definitely bright and shiny, Natalie. You are definitely that.
Oh, thank you.
We are hanging out on KGRA Digital Broadcasting X page, Facebook page, and Rumble page tonight. You can also hang out on live.kgradb.com. We're hanging out in all those places. Well, I am.
Yeah, I let you hang out for us.
Yeah, I like it. I like talking to the Wanderers.
Yeah, my mouth does not go when I'm typing, and then my brain goes right to the typing. And then I
notice when you've tried to look in, you go silent.
Yeah,
and I'm like, Natalie, you're on air. You're on air.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I got you.
Shoot.
I'm a seasoned professional.
Yes.
I'm a multitasker. I don't know how efficiently, but I am something.
You don't go silent like I do though, when it's just like, oh, focus in. And
there have been times where I'm like, what's going on here? What is all of this stuff happening in the chat room? So yes, wonderful. We love our Wanderers. We're so grateful for all of you. Thank you for being here and spending time in one of those platforms. So good. I like it. Makes me happy. I'm a little stuffy today. My voice sounds a little funky.
Does it?
It does in my head. Do I sound all right?
You do sound all right.
Lovely. Our beautiful producer made me some tea. So I've got some extra warm tea. I cannot drink it yet. She told me stick a finger in it. She mommed me.
She's like, it's really warm, so be careful.
I'm so grateful for her. Well, let's give a shout out to Chanel, our producer. She's so awesome. So professional, so friendly, so helpful, so supportive.
It's important to have good behind the scenes people that aren't in the limelight, but are there to support.
Yeah. And it is, we're supported for sure.
Yeah,
definitely. So grateful. So yeah, talk about support. I feel supported in my everyday life. I've been feeling so loved and supported by so many people. So,
in this refinement process, we were before the show kind of talking about the growth that we've both experienced, you and I, since we met each other. You were on your path, I'm on my path, but when our paths came together, and oh my goodness, it it's so much growing in my own experience,
Yeah.
and most of that growth has definitely been connected and facilitated by one, the space that you hold, the physical space that you've been holding, and
Mhm.
the ability to do my work from that space, and the work that I chose to do in that space. Just how much I've learned about myself and just leaned in.
It's magic.
Oh, it is magic. So it's good to look back and take like a collect, just to notice and to
Sorry for the
pat.
noise. I'm trying to find my lozenges before I have a coughing fit. Keep going. Just ignore
She's
me.
like,
I'm not prepared today.
oh, that's what happens when you get off a little bit. But when you're going through growth periods, you're really aware of slogging through and getting through the muck and the mud and
Mhm.
whatever's you're going through,
Yeah.
and then you just carry on. And from time to time, you get the opportunity. It's like when you go hiking. We have some big mountains right next to us. Like
Yes.
to hike up the foothills of the mountains that are just right in our vicinity, you have to stop just to catch your breath. And they say look backwards to
Mhm.
see how far you've come up the mountain. And that's really a lovely thing to do even with life, is to be able to look back and
Mhm.
just check your growth and take an opportunity to pat yourself on the back.
Isn't that the truth? I've been doing a lot of that lately because when you start feeling stuck, that's like the best time to say, "Hey, why are you feeling stuck? Look at where you were compared to where you are." And I think just stuck because I have so many things in the air that I can't move forward on until they fall down, and that's out of my control.
Yeah, so I actually did want to talk about that. That was some there as I'm just headed towards the show, like going towards the time of the show, things come up. Divine timing.
Mm,
That's what I wanted to like bring up, that everything happens really truly in its time.
mhm.
I wanted to say the world really shows up for any of us. We get there's something beautiful about understanding the world will rise to meet you. The world will rise to meet you. Um, However, us humans will want it to be at our time. Hold
Yeah.
on. The world is late to the
Yeah.
appointment to rise to meet me. This is not working like this.
Yeah.
Pay attention to the resistance. When you start to understand and pay attention to resistance, like if things just aren't going well towards a particular end goal, it's probably not time.
Mhm. Exactly. That is such a good thing to remind us of. We want things to happen so quickly.
Yeah.
And
Or
not everything is on our timeline, and
no,
I think we just forget that because we're either really excited for it to take place or really wanting that change, whatever that looks like, and we just forget things don't happen overnight. That's just not the way that life works.
no. And sometimes we can just have an idea, set a goal, get inspiration for something. And so we just lean into a particular aspect of life or a
Mhm.
goal. And when it's not coming together, um, we can blame or get upset or angry but and that's also an opportunity to say, huh, maybe this is a really good idea that just hasn't found its time yet.
Mhm.
And when the idea finds its time, it's like just smooth, all green lights. Have you ever
Mhm.
launched off on track? You're just like, okay, I've got to go somewhere, and all green lights for my path. That's lovely when you hit all the green lights.
It is smooth sailing.
Smooth sailing. So there's part of that that's like, I want to talk about everything in its time. And
Definitely.
the recognition of when it's time Because sometimes it's time to do a thing that it's not always a resistance, but then we can encounter fear or hesitation when we are being called and it's a time for something
Mm-hmm.
to happen. And they were like, I don't know. I don't know if it could happen. I don't know if we could do it. But my beautiful niece came over to visit with me today, and we'd had a hard conversation 2 months ago, I think, a couple months ago, where I just was authentic with her. And she said, after reviewing the conversation, she came to some awarenesses after about that, like feeling like there's a time for her to make a shift in her life. And she doesn't know how it's going to go. But today she was open to the
Mm.
shift, which is a beautiful thing for me to say, going, okay, that's good. That's one of the big first steps is being open to change. Because do you, so this is probably something that's happened in your life before, but change,
I've been
fear
forced
of
into
it.
change, and I've been definitely afraid of change. You know, but that's the difference between my old self and the person I am currently. I used to live in fear quite a bit because I had to know what the outcome was going to look like before I made the decision,
Mm,
which is not practical.
no,
But my
I don't think
brain
the
didn't
world even knows.
understand. My brain did not understand that, right? I was just like, well, if this happens, I need to know for sure this is the outcome
Uh,
before I'll make the decision.
uh,
But now it's all in, well, you can say divine timing, like you said, which is true, but that's not how I look at it necessarily. I look at it, everything that's meant to be will be, regardless of the outcome. It's what's best for me. It's whatever is meant for me is meant for me. And so, regardless of the outcome, I know it's for my best and highest good. And I trust that. And I've trusted it wholeheartedly. And the amount of stress that is gone from my life now,
ah,
and not living in fear of what's going to happen or what's next or what if this happens or what about, like, that's not even a thought anymore. Like I said, I am so wheezing in the microphone. I'm sorry. My lungs are so tight. I've had, this bug caught me.
oh,
Um, that's all right. I'm letting him out of the cage. He's leaving me.
that's so cute.
um, I've had this, like I said, I've had all these things up in the air, and I'm just, is there a little bit of stress related to it? Absolutely. I think that's just a normal human reaction. But how I've chose to manage the stress is healthy, in my opinion, compared to what it ever was before. And I think that just surrendering, like literally just being like, whatever will be. And that is what is going to be best. Because I believe that there's a plan for all of us. No matter what we choose, A, B, or C,
Right.
the end result is what is meant for us.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It really is. So it's such a peaceful way for me to live my life in comparison to how I used to live. And I can't tell you when the switch happened. It's been years and years and years of working on me. Um, Specifically the last, 10 years. I I just can't even imagine like putting that much stress on my body that I used to put on my body, where I used to worry about everything, and now I'm just like,
Mm.
"Eh, whatever." And I really am like that. Like, I'll stress and I'll be like, for 5 minutes, I'm like, "What am I doing? There is no reason for me to stress about this. Universe has my back. I'm taken care of always. I'm always supported, and everything always works out in the end. If it doesn't work out, it's not the end."
Aw, I love that. I've had moments where I've done that too. I
It's
remember,
very relaxing compared to the chaos. And also, yeah, Eric just brought up sleep is better for one. Yeah, sleep on it. Sleep on it is a good thing for me
oh,
too.
it's such a good thing.
Yeah.
Sleep on it a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Lots of sleeps between things is beneficial.
I agree.
Things always look different in the morning.
Yeah, que sera, sera. Exactly.
Yeah.
Whatever will be, will be.
And sing it till you're convinced.
Yes. Honestly, like we really have no control.
We really don't.
We really don't. And the
Right.
more we try to control it, the more chaos we give ourselves. So,
Right. Get in the way, block the
yeah.
view,
Yeah.
try to make mental decisions, all the things.
All the things.
So how have you been? Other- We'll
I've
touch
been
in
on
with
a
you a
I've
little
been on
bit.
a roller coaster actually. This last week has been the big I'd say the last 7 to 10 days have just been a big blur. My kids were in town. I ended up down with this stuff which whew, knocked me out. Um and then, a good friend of mine, couple of good really close, just a friend and a family member, they're like really going through some hard things and like I'm really good at letting people go through what they go through and just like, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'll support you. But when people are really close to me, like I'm connected to them in the way that I am, I just feel things so deeply and want to help and support. And so I've I've had opportunities to do that as well. Um and then just a lot of downtime where like I literally didn't get out of bed Sunday. So it gave me an opportunity to get introspective in a way and and really go through. I have this list of to-dos, and a lot of them are on there still from last year that I just keep pushing to the end, like, "You're not a priority right now, I'll get to you later." And I got clear with that, like, "Really? Is this really necessary? Like, is that, important? Do I
T-
really need to make this a to-do?"
Wow.
And then also just, like, introspective in the way of where I'm currently at in my life, like, big things are shifting for me and things I never thought would take place, a couple of really big things. And talk about change and talk about trusting and surrendering, and it just gave me an opportunity to slow down, and I believe that's why I got knocked down the way I did, so fast and so hard, so I could have a dose of reality, like,
Sometimes
reality check.
our body needs to say, guess what? You're going to just stop.
Yeah, and so, yeah, that was my week. I mean, being with my kids, awesome, right? They were off doing their thing and living their life, but they are in the States now, and I'll get to go be with them again in a couple of months, and, um, yeah, I mean, what can I say? I feel super blessed. All of it just feels really good, even if it's not settled, right? Just feels good. Everything feels good. I feel like I'm growing so quickly and like almost like I can't fit in my body anymore kind of feeling. And it's exciting. I'm not even scared. I'm really grateful and really looking forward to the future and ready to take whatever on that comes my way. So
That's so good.
it feels really good. It's a good place to be. And I wouldn't be so comfortable or relaxed in this feeling if I hadn't had the tools that I've learned from you, from all my books, from all my courses, like all the things that I've been doing. I just don't think that I would be like chill like I am. I think 10 years ago I would have been like, my life is falling apart. But I don't feel that way at all.
Oh, such
Growth
a
is a beautiful thing.
it is. Then you can actually see it differently.
Yeah, and it feels really good. I know you've also had a lot of growth opportunities.
It's so true.
Well, how's your week been?
Well, it's actually was very lovely. I ended up having the opportunity to head to Arizona where my family most of my family lives in Arizona, and I surprise them very much because I have not made all that many trips to Arizona where my family lives, and I have a large family. It's I don't think about it because I am one of 9 children. That is a lot in a family,
You're like,
but
they won't
it's
miss me.
normal
But it's not true.
for me. Now, it's not normal since I've been geographically separated from my family, um, it they haven't been in my everyday world, but they're still I come from that large family,
Mhm.
and it was a fun experience, honestly. When I was much younger, I kinda had told a much different story than I tell now about it. I was looking at the negative sides, the things I kept a focus on what I, was felt like I was missing
Mhm.
instead of what I was receiving, and boy, is the result differently.
I've even heard you say it differently recently than when I first met you. Like, I've seen that shift in you. I was gonna bring that up the other day when we were talking about your
Oh,
family and the positive things you were saying compared to how
I
you
used to
used to.
talk.
Mhm.
Yes. Um, so I had the opportunity to surprise both my mom and my sister, who had a surprise birthday party, and the family pulled it off. She was surprised.
I love that.
She had no idea that the house was full of people waiting to say surprise. She was standing at the door talking, to someone that was outside of the house, and everybody's just, like, hiding in the dark. It was so cute.
I love surprises.
But and when my mom saw me, oh, I just to be just the blasted with love, it was just so good. Made me cry to see the way that my mom looked
Aw.
at me and just the healing that's happened after years, being disconnected. So that was a beautiful thing. And so there was um, the opportunity to be among my siblings, which doesn't happen all that often, and to just feel like, we're really cool people that happen to be related. And frankly, we kind of like each other. That's kind
Aw.
of a big deal, I
Yes.
think,
Oh, for sure.
to have a family that isn't not
Especially a family of that size.
yeah, we are having some stuff going on. Our mom's older, and that's always a little scary when my mom's in her mid 80s, and so her health is not she's not as vibrant as she has been. And so that has some of us a little worried, but
Yeah.
it was a lovely I took it was a very long drive because I drove all the way, and it's like 11 hours of driving.
It's such a long drive.
It's so, like, hard on the body.
Mhm.
I was, like, moving my legs and stuff going, "My lymphatic system doesn't like sitting still the whole time."
Yeah. For real.
But my body handled it much better this time, so I feel like I've even shifted in health between my other drives and this one going, "Oh, I handled this one better." But I did have an experience where the energetic sensitivity and using the tools to move energy, I was able to move my body through some kunky energy that it picked up, and I was like, "Well, that's good." Level of sensitivity. There's something that happens. Level of sensitivity goes up as you learn and grow.
Mhm.
Then you're like, "Oh, I can't do what I used to do."
Yes. Yeah.
So that was my time since we've last been on these microphones.
That's a lot, Natalie.
That's a lot.
That's some big growth.
But I'm smiling big because it was lovely.
Well, I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
I love where you're at now with yourself and your family. It's been fun watching you grow too.
Thank you.
Good times, good times.
Good
Bring on the
times.
life stuff.
That's right.
Talking about life stuff, Natalie has a big goal, and I am here to push her along the way. Natalie wants to write a book. And so tonight,
Or 5.
Wanders, I know you'll learn something as well, but this show is dedicated to Natalie.
Aw.
I feel like our guest has something to teach all of us, especially those who are wanting to write their stories. I know that some wanderers do. They have made comments about sharing this, that, and the other. Tonight is your night to learn something. So stay close, everyone. We'll be right back. Hello, Wanderers. Welcome back to Soul Wanderings with AJ
and Natalie.
We are your hosts tonight, and you can find us on kgradb.com. We're also hanging out on KGRA Digital Broadcasting, Facebook, Rumble, and X pages. We hope you're hanging out on one of those platforms with us, with the other Wanderers. Say hello in one of the chat rooms. I'm hanging out there, and I want to say hi back. Natalie will energetically say hello.
Yes.
I love it.
I'll let my higher self commune in the chat room.
Yes.
She
Good
can
job.
handle a lot of things.
Definitely.
That higher self of mine.
Knows what's up.
Yes.
Speaking of knowing what's up, you're going to get schooled tonight, Natalie.
Okay, I'm ready.
Are you
I'm ready
ready?
to be a student, I think.
Oh, great. So tonight we have a brand new guest. Her name is Marilyn Horowitz, and she's an award-winning author, New York University professor, TV show creator, and writing coach, working with successful novelists, produced screenwriters, and award-winning filmmakers. She's also the author of the newly released book, Word of the Day, Transform Your Writing in 15 Minutes a Day. Let's welcome to the show, Marilyn.
Hello.
Hi, Marilyn. Welcome to Soul Wanderings.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here. I was listening to you ladies jam, and I'm like, yeah, I feel like I'm home.
Oh, good. We're totally organic. We just hang
Really
out
do.
and have a good old time. We
No,
like
but
to get
the
you off.
way that you're processing what other people would process is part of what my whole jam is about with Word of the Day. In other words, you're already there, but writers suffer a lot, as you know, Natalie, because whether or not you know it, if you want to write, you are one.
I love that. And look, Marilyn brought the big old gorgeous smile tonight.
She
Thank
does.
you for that.
Look at that.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Thank you. It takes one to know one, or it takes two to know one.
Woo woo.
That's what we're here
Got
for.
some powerful women in the house tonight.
Yes, for sure, and of course, this is why I'm here. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to share this thing, because what I'm up to is pretty cool. All right, so Natalie, okay,
Yes.
okay. Interestingly enough, I did a podcast earlier with another Natalie,
Oh, really?
and she had the same issue. And I will say a couple things. Now, the first thing is that the reason that we don't do things that we want to do. You ladies this is probably all remedial for you ladies. So if it is, I apologize in advance. But basically, we're dealing with the brain and we're dealing with the mind. We're dealing with the biological imperative. We're dealing with the creative self. We're dealing with the left brain, the right brain, all of these. But the bottom line is that the part of you that takes care of you, which is mostly automatic, says, hey, I don't care if you're writing. I got you here. You're surviving. Like, what do you want from me? I'm keeping you safe. Don't do anything new. Right? A bear might chase you and you might be writing and you wouldn't know where to run. But this biological imperative is no joke, and it destroys much talent. Now, the current wisdom, as you all both know, is, it's your inner critic, you fight it, there are all kinds of methods for dealing with it. But the one thing that no one does is say to it, because it is a rational part of you, hey, I was surviving, and you're right, happiness was not of interest, but now I am thriving. And you, biological imperative, that part of you that keeps me alive and healthy, has to understand that happiness is a component of my health. And if you want to do your job, which I know you do, you need to shape up and worry about my happiness and make room for me.
Well, we like her already. Look at her go.
We like it getting
You need to
things
shape
done
up.
around here. Get your act together, woman.
But it's very interesting that we're again, I mean, I'm a bit of a skeptic, and my background is like, show me the money, where is the money, and how much of what's being said is for someone to get some money. That's kind of where I come from. And having been in this business for a long time, I appreciate what people say, But my whole entire life has been about, Emperor's New Clothes. No, that's wrong. That's backwards. That is not how you write. No, that is not how you deal with your inner critic. No, that is not how you treat yourself. All this stuff, there's an agenda. And I personally, I'm hoping that with Word of the Day, I will be able to help a lot of people see the agenda, right? Become aware of it and make their own decisions. So the mission of my company, what we're up to, is to give people the tools to be happy and help them stay that way, right? So it's a whole new. The idea is that your equanimity, like as if you were a generator or whatever, is as long as you can stay fairly on an even keel, you're not constantly shutting yourself down and shutting yourself back on and wearing out your circuits, right?
Right.
Right. So and I've done a lot of research. Consciousness is my hobby and my thing. I come from two grandparents who wrote a book reconciling Judaism and Christianity, a mother who was a philosophy professor who taught the psychology of Zen, right, and the philosophy of psychology, that kind. And so it's an intellectual lineage where you really are expected to really think about stuff, which is really what I do. So I make thinking tools. So the first thinking tool is the only way you can win this particular thing that we do when we want to create something. It doesn't matter whether it's writing is what I happen to work on, but it doesn't matter if you're a painter or a gardener or whatever, is you have to acknowledge yourself. And this is what we're not taught. We're told that we're alone, all this nonsense. Look in the mirror. How can you be alone? There is someone else in the mirror. Come on. It's like, right. I mean, again, this is what I mean. It's like the Matrix. It's like this stuff that we're being told stuff. We all agree to it. It's not true. And we know it.
Right.
Right. And I think that, people like you, not that there are any people like you, but the kind of people that you hang out with are like-minded in the sense that they're willing to see the truth about things, and that's how you win. That's how you win this new world that we need to live in. Right. So the first thing is that inner critic is trying to keep you safe. Okay, that's what it's trying to do. It's perception, because we all deal with pattern recognition. That's how we get through our lives. That's what time is to keep you safe by not having you do anything different, because if you don't do anything different, then you can control the outcome better. It's a biological imperative. It has nothing to do with positive thinking or prayers or mythology. It is how it is. And so if we can accept that, then also now added to that is a lot of societal pressure not to think too much of yourself, to be humble. But humble is used by people who are arrogant to make people like us diminish our worth.
She's so quotable.
You're going to go back
stay
and
humble.
replay.
I don't have to stay humble.
Well, it's much better to be like a child and say, I'm really good at doing podcasts, instead of, oh, well, yeah, what kind of this podcast? But we're trained that there's some kind of benefit in lessening and diminishing ourselves in our own eyes. And guess what happens? You train people how to treat you.
Right.
Right?
Very
But why would this occur? Because the people who don't feel that way want to make you feel bad so they can control you and get you to do what they want. That's what's going on. It's really not very nice. And so I'm not a big positive thinker person, but I'm a positive thinker in the sense that you make your own reality. You just have to know what you're up against, what you're really up against. And that's what I'm about. So the word of the day is a journaling practice. Okay. Now we can do this if you guys each have a piece of paper and a pen. And if not, you can do it in the air.
She's like, this is for you. So I have my pen.
There you go. So what you're going to do, so the way that you practice is you draw a circle in the middle of your page. Okay, and then you draw.
To do this physically. Can you draw a circle?
No, you go for it. This is all you.
Okay, circle on my.
In the center of your page, large enough to put a word or two in, and then you're going to put about 4 or 5 circles around it that are equally large, and you're going to connect them to the main circle with a line, and that's it. That's the graphic that we use to do this incredible transformational work. I like things to be really simple.
Okay, so I have to start again because I had to. I started and then I finished. Then you told me the rest of the instructions. So this circle I can't put more. 5 or 6. Oh, I could do it.
Yeah, of course you can do it. Of course you can do it. I mean, any way you do it is right. Okay, so and the idea is that this graphic design is basically literally a portal into your subconscious, as you're going to find out in a couple of minutes. Okay, and what that does is once you're working from that deep place, inspiration is just part of what you're up to, and writing something is no biggie.
Right.
Right. The other
Which is
part of
what
the book
I
is
think will happen.
But also,
well,
as she said, it's not just about writing. It can be about anything,
Right.
any kind of
it's about
creative process.
gardening. You know, it's a well-known fact that writing helps you clarify your thinking, whether you're writing for its own sake or as a tool to think more clearly. And it's been given much too much importance. It's just a tool like any other. So writing your thoughts down, you know, people journaling, any of that stuff is useful, but you know, to give it any importance, no. But this is a technique, because what we want to do is we want to be able to connect with our subconscious, because our subconscious is the place where all the juice is. That's the place where all the stories that your mom won't like are at. You know what I'm saying? That's the place where there's real creativity. That's where your real feelings are. And that's what great art is about. Art is not about, you know, placating, generating the same old stuff again, which is what we're seeing in the media. So part of the reason for doing this is that people need to have the courage to be creative. And the reason that they're not courageous is because they're not connected to themselves. You know? So let me show you this technique.
I love this.
AJ's over. Okay, show me the technique. AJ's like loving this, eating this up.
Oh yeah.
It's like,
I'm
this
all about it.
is right. Okay, technique.
I'm just so happy to you know, like I've been around for quite a while, okay, and I have been through, you know, whatever excrement word you want to use, big piles of that thing, and my whole thing is I don't want people to suffer the way I did. It wasn't necessary. I had the same teaching that we all got. I just fought it harder,
Yeah.
and I found solutions, and that's what I'm bringing to the table.
I like that.
All right,
Beautiful.
yeah, because I mean, you know, and also, you know, more and more we need art. You know, that is we've got a soul. The only way that we can you know stay in the center of the universe is by really being in our souls and bringing it. Right. Okay.
Right.
Here's how you do the. All right, let's do this, and then we'll talk. Right. I'm from New York. All right. So. Sit on your sit bones, okay? Just sit comfortably. Get comfortable so you really feel rooted in your chair. Wiggle your toes. Really feel yourself, you know, rooted in the ground. And breathe. And breathe in for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 4. And then hold it out for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do it again. Inhale for 4, a little slower. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep the exhale out. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time, even slower. Take a big breath now. 2, 3, 4, 5. Fill your chest filling up. Big. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale with a sigh. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. And take a breath. Arms over your head. And what we're going to do is we're going to do something called gathering, which means everything outside your arms is out there and everything inside your arms is all you. So slowly take a breath. Bring it down. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Enjoy the motion. And then bring yourself into a self-hug. Get your hand, either opposite hands on your shoulder. Really give yourself a hug. It would make me really happy, AG, if you did that, because this is not the writing part.
Okay, I'm hugging myself. I'm like
and
trying
then
not to touch my body right now, actually.
okay, and then what you do is you lean forward and you look at yourself in the Zoom, not at each other, and you will say aloud, "I love you, Natalie. I love you, AJ. Come on, let's hear it. I love you, Marilyn.
I love you.
I love you, AJ.
I love you, Natalie. Love
I
you,
love
AJ.
you, Marilyn. We'll always be together.
I love you, Natalie.
Oh, we will always be together.
For shizzle.
Yes.
And we will always be safe.
And we
We'll
will always be safe.
Okay, now I want you to give yourself a big smile and squeeze your shoulders and take a big breath and just feel that sense of presentness that you just accomplished. Just enjoy that. Take a few breaths. You notice you stop thinking? You notice you're calm? Okay, so this is my real secret agenda, okay, ladies? Okay. This is what true happiness is. This is what it feels like, and people don't know this, right? And hopefully, it's like potato chips. It feels so good, you want to eat more of it, right?
If you like
So-
potato chips.
Can't just have one.
Organic potato chips, maybe they're avocado flowers. It's cool. It's better. But what we're dealing with here is we have been so sidelined. So in this moment, you realize the three of us are on air, and all three of us are having the experience of happinessness.
Yes.
Wow, right? Now, you can have this happen to yourself all day long, anytime. And every time you get stressed, if you do the hug, wow, nothing can touch you. And this goes back to what you were talking about in the beginning. This is just a toolbox for you because you are ready and you know what to do. This is just a way to do it on command. Now, the next part of this is in this state of presentness. Now we're going to get creative, okay? So now you have your pad and your pen. And AJ, you don't have to do this about writing. Now, Natalie, I don't want you to think about writing. What I want you to think about is nothing. I want you to take a big breath, and I want you to allow your mind to relax and see what comes into your mind as a word. So the word that came into mind was Jack in the Box. Okay, what about you? Just take a breath
Blue.
and let something. Pardon?
Blue.
Glue.
The
color.
color blue.
The color blue.
Okay. And what about you, AJ? What'd you get?
Peace.
Beautiful. All right. So you would write that in the center of your circle, and I would write Jack in the Box. Okay. And then this is where you start to have fun. We do two of these. This is a 6-minute process. Okay. We have time, right, to do this? We can do an abbreviated 3-minute version. Okay. But
We have time.
Excellent. And this is worth doing. So the idea is now you have blue, and we're gonna do this a little bit aloud because we're in a podcast and you haven't done it before. Now, if you close your eyes, Natalie, what comes into your mind? What image? You want to work with? You're not trying to brainstorm like in school with many words. You're trying to see, what does blue suggest to you? What comes into your visual mind? This is how we do this.
Like flowers.
Okay, so now what you would write in the next circle around that would be flowers. Okay, and then you take another breath, and we'll do 3 of these just to give the flavor of it. And what would be the next image that comes up?
Bunny.
Okay, and then the next image.
Like car.
Car. Okay, now you can feel that you're losing your center, so now you would do a hug. This is how you're going to write the book. Okay.
She feels I'm losing my center.
Yeah.
You're thinking, not feeling. I
I
saw
can
that.
feel that.
Yes, exactly.
I'm in the middle of a show, so it's like interesting.
I'm holding
space,
down the
but
show.
she's-
You do the
AJ's
thing.
got me.
That's why I'm
Ah.
not engaged in this right now.
That's why I'm leaving you alone, AJ. Otherwise, I'd recruit you.
I'm holding space for you.
She's like that. All right, so then it's like,
Okay, but now, we can stop right here because you've now learned the most important thing about creating, which is you are in control of the state you're in when you're creating.
Yes.
Wow.
yeah,
At will, on demand. So this word of the day thing is no joke. It's magic.
Truly.
Okay, the only thing you have to be willing to do is to be honest and be aware and say, well, I'm going back into my head again.
sure.
On a visceral level. There's no judgment. There's just, oh, no, I want to go back into bunny land. All right, so
It's
hug.
similar to meditation.
Oh, it really resonates. I've done actually a lot of studies. I did a Vipassana retreat. I did mindfulness courses. And so I've had steeped in this plus a 3.5-year martial arts type program. So this is what this reminds me of, is just like, oh yeah, just be in
Okay,
it.
well, this is your graduation present, which is you don't have to do any of that stuff anymore. You're done. Just do the hug, do the word of the day, and
Right.
and then the other part of it, which we're not going to get into in this, but it's in the book, is all about time management. Because once you understand that you are in control of being present and being in a constant state of happiness, and now that you know what happiness feels like, which is much more important than what anybody tells you that it is. Everybody has their own opinion, right? When you hear that stuff about, oh, everybody's happy in their own way, the answer is no, that's not true. Everybody's happy in the way that we just did that. That feeling is the feeling of presentness.
Right.
Okay, and I'm very sick of having. I mean, I'm like you. I have extensive. I'm certified in Reiki. I'm a Reiki master. I did Kundalini yoga for 9 years. I'm certified in Thai massage. What else? I mean, right? Okay. I mean, just I'm certified in Tao Yin, which is Master Chia's yoga, which I think is the greatest. And the point is, none of it worked, or I would have been okay. I would have stayed in one place, as would you ladies. This is the last place you need to get to. The whole idea of the word of the day is once you nail this thing, as they say in England, Bob's your uncle and Fanny's your aunt. In other words, you are in control. And I heard you talking before about control. Okay, this is another part of this conversation, which is this is what you can be in control of, how you feel. Okay? That's big, because once you're in control of how you feel and you know how the right feeling is, which is that feeling of presentness, there's no inner conversation, you are available to receive imagery and work, then your job is to figure out how to do it all day, every day. And that's what the rest of the toolbox that I'm working on offers. So creatively, you have bunny, you have blue, you have flowers.
Right.
Okay? So what I would say to you is tell me a little story in 2 or 3 sentences, and we will do it verbally because we're on the air. But normally in the class, we do one cluster, then we do a second cluster, and then we write for 2 minutes. I'm condensing it because I'm sure that we want to cover lots of other stuff. So tell me a little story about this.
I'm just going to go with, so Riley went for a walk, and she noticed as she was walking along, the sky was the most amazing blue that she had seen, and it reminded her of her sister's blue eyes, which was kind of cool. Now, she doesn't always like her sister, but sometimes she does like her sister. But the sky was like her sister's blue eyes. And then she looked around, and then there were these flowers. And these flowers were lots of different colors, not just blue like her sister's eyes. And so she noticed the flowers, and then out from behind the flowers jumped this little bunny. How curious, she thought. The bunny. I don't know if I've ever seen a bunny before. I don't even know if I know the word bunny. Huh. Okay. That's my story.
All right. I think applause is appropriate. So
Yes.
So what I'm saying, do you realize that what you just did, Natalie, is you told the whole story with the beginning, middle, and end, conflict, right? Right. This is what happens when you do this practice.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the ways to do this is you do this practice for a few days, and you let the stories come out, and then the story that you want to tell starts to emerge. Right. And then because you're
Just
doing
like
2 or
that.
5 minutes, just like that, because it's every story you ever want to tell. Remember I said about pattern intelligence, how that's how we organize reality. All right. So story is originally a form of the biological imperative's way of protecting us, because stories happen in time. Once upon a time, there was a princess, and then something happened. Without time, which the creative unconscious, our right side, our creative self, we would not know to run from the bear when it's chasing us. We wouldn't understand the progression on the planet, and that's why it's so important to not have a beef with your inner critic. Whenever I see people beating up the ego, I just feel like I'm watching someone beat up their dog. I mean, the ego is our personality on the planet. It is so maligned. It's not to say people don't have big egos, but it's the same word with a different meaning. It's like there's waste and there's waste. One is waste, and the other's your waistline. I mean, this is what I mean about swimming through all this, misrepresentation of reality.
Correct.
Right. So we're all natural storytellers. Okay. In other words, that what you just did is something that's hardwired within you. You dream 3 to 5 times a night. You're an expert. You've got that 10,000 hours that you hear about because you've been doing it since before you were born.
Like I'm already set.
I'm saying the point is you really are. It's just, society doesn't want you to be powerful because then it can't control you.
Yeah.
100% accurate.
I know.
Okay, I'm one of those people. I'm a little older than you ladies, and I'm one of those people that would not be pushed around.
Right.
And I'm very tough, and I found my own way. And for 25 years, one of the things I did, I've been a writing coach for a long time, but I came up with this way of writing screenplays after I sold my first novel and was tortured by a Hollywood producer. And I came up with this way of writing screenplays really easily, and I've now taught thousands of people to write a good screenplay in 10 weeks. But why is what we just did. It's the pattern recognition. It's pushing that button so that the creative unconscious goes, oh yeah, I know that story. Get out of my way. Let me get some paper. Let me do this thing. It's completely the opposite of what you think. So every story is complete within us before we ever write it.
I believe that. And this actually reminds me of a technique that was like a healing practice that taught to me. But this technique reminds me of that. So it's just like go into it, go into it, go into it, go into it. And then you just get these touch points that then because I speak intuitively anyway, I think this is a beautiful technique for me that could just like let me just, because it already happened. I was like, oh, I can see how this works already.
Yeah, too late. You already did it, right? You can't take it back. All right, let me tell you a couple of ways that this also works. And one of the reasons that I'm on the show is that this book just came out and I'm really excited about it. But I just finished a new book, which is 3 years of my receiving channeled messages from this amazing psychic, a world famous psychic. The most famous guy you never heard of. He's coached 40,000 people. And at a certain point, he called me up and he said, my spirit guides want me to work with you every week. And I was going through a really bad marriage and a couple of other bad things. And I don't believe in therapy anymore. So I was like, okay, bring it. And in 3 years, I have now become what I call, I'm now in a state of presentness. I'm in a state of what I call enlightened awareness, which means that I'm able to walk this walk that I'm telling you about most of the time. And when I start to jam in the other direction, I can, get myself back pretty darn quick.
Good.
And so this idea that we need to change the world by doing this for ourselves. This is the self-acknowledgement. In other words, Natalie, I think it's absolutely incredible that you are on national radio and you just were willing to do a technique from a completely unknown person, make up a story, risk rejection and ridicule. I mean, right, AJ? I mean, wow.
Nothing to prove.
Yeah. She has nothing to prove. She's right.
So that's obvious. I mean,
it's in her design.
So let me tell you. So what happened was I wrote the book because I was helping people during the pandemic, and then one of my friends. Are you familiar with Burning Man? Have you heard of that festival?
Yes.
All right. So my friends, right, not that far, right? And you have them out there. So anyway, my friend Barnaby has run a healing camp called Shaman Dome there for 17 years, and we're tango dancers. That's what I do for fun. And he said, I don't think you're a teacher. I think you're a healer, and I dare you to come out to the playa and sit with my shamans and my and do some healing work. Don't dare me. There I was, on the playa. Now I've studied, Native American medicine. I know how to do all that stuff, but it's not my style. So there I am in the playa in this big dome, 60 people, 30 healers with their drums and their rattles, and me, I've got a pad. Seriously. I mean, I'm like, what am I going to do? And what would happen is there'd be some event and people would go and, take ayahuasca and transform and do orgies and all kinds of spiritual events. And then they'd freak out and they'd come and stand in line to work with people in Shaman Dome to get to reorganize themselves. And so what I discovered after working on 25 people, that I had a healing practice, because what I did was I'm trained in Alexander. And what I noticed that everybody was literally disconnected. So I would literally sit them down and get their head back on their shoulder, which took about a minute. And so the stress level went from a 12 to a 6, right? Okay. And then they would, generally speaking, be too disorganized mentally to actually tell me what the problem was. And so I would do the word of the day and I'd say, what's the first word? Now, I have a little practice in this, so I could figure out what the word meant. You know what I mean? In other words, I had enough context, I could get enough out of them. And what we would do is figure out what was really going on. It took a minute. So for example, one gal came in, she was completely hysterical, crying. And I said, give me a word. She was betrayed. And I went, okay. And we did a few other words. And I went, oh, okay, you were betrayed. That's really terrible. Give me a hug. Let me work on your shoulders. Now, I see that the other things in here, the other words are father and feather and boa constrictor. And, what do you, tell me a story, as I did with you, because I couldn't write it down. And she told me a story in which the father basically betrays the mother and leaves her alone with a boa constrictor. And I thought, well, okay. And she said, oh my God, that's exactly what happened. I'm here with my best friend and my boyfriend, and the snake in the grass, my best friend, has just gone off and stolen my boyfriend. And the way this works, because you later, so that once you have awareness, you chillax. You're like, okay, that's a really bad problem, but I can fix it. I know what it is. And I see the connection with my past. The new book that I'm working on is called Shadows and Echoes, right? So the shadow was growing up with a father who cheated on her mother, and the echo was her allowing it to happen to her. Does that make sense?
Oh, it does make sense. Yeah.
So we were so the point is she left, and after I did this 25 times, I realized that probably this had a more general application.
Oh, sure.
That Barnaby was right. So that's what I've been up to. So I have a friend, for example, who I taught the technique to, the self-acknowledgement hug, and he's a Freudian psychoanalyst working as a caseworker, and his particular population are abused women in bad marriages, in the immigrant population in New York. And he's new, so they gave him the worst cases. So the very worst case was a lady who had been married to a really abusive psycho for 15 years and had a 7-year-old son. They couldn't get her to leave him. They had a place for her. They had a whole new house for her. They had everything laid on. No one, and they said, go give her a try, but you're not going to shift her. No one's been able to shift her. So I think he's amazing. Contrary to all of his training, he does the self-acknowledgement hug with her in the gathering. And she starts to cry. And because people who are not aware cry because they realize that they've abandoned themselves, right? It brings you back to yourself. Mm-hmm. She started crying. They do the session. He does the thing, the again, she cries. And then he's like, okay, well, that happened, it's never going to work. The next day he gets a call. She says, I'm at the police station. Can you please come and help me fill out the form for the restraining order against my husband? I've left him.
Awesome.
And the punchline is that last week when I was recording some videos, because I'm on all the, so I'm building a presence. I want people to come and, get real and hang out on all the different things. I'm not on Rumble, but I'm on TikTok and X and Facebook, LinkedIn. And while I'm filming some stuff, I get a text saying, we're back at the police station. The psycho is really coming after her. And now we've got to get 2 orders, but she is standing firm. I mean, at that point, it's not that I don't think helping people write is so important, but I think that the idea that something that you've used for years can now help, people on a broader thing is just thrilling to me. And I'm probably talking too much. Sorry.
Well, no, you give it an opportunity to be empowered. There's something to be said about that. We do need to take a break, but when we get back, we'll continue to hear your stories. Stay close. Hello, Wanderers. Welcome back to Soul Wandering Cert on kgradb.com. I am AJ.
And I am Natalie.
And we are hanging out tonight with Marilyn. She's reminding us and teaching us about some good old stuff. And you thought it was all about writing, but actually, it's all about connecting to yourself, to your higher self, to your purpose. You didn't know that was going to happen, did you? But here we are. Here she is, and we're going to learn some more. Thanks for being here with us, Marilyn.
Oh, it is as you can tell, it is my complete, to have an opportunity to share this material with people who get it and can use it is, that's what it's my purpose. I'm fulfilling my purpose. I'm sitting here, being who I'm supposed to be. It doesn't get any better, right?
No,
doesn't get
no. We don't want to be any other way ourselves. And so for someone to be aligned in that same way, it's fire.
It's wonderful.
It's so good. Before you
tell me about, I'm sorry, you go and then I'll ask my question.
Okay. Yeah. So before we keep going on the word of the day and all this good work that you do, I want to know more about you. So tell us a little bit about your history. How did you become you? Like, I know that's a big old question and a big old long journey you've been on, but give us some key points. Like, we all have a story, right? We all become who we become because of some of the things that we've been through. So,
right.
Marilyn's life.
Well, I mean, my life has been, there's a lot going on, but I'll tell you that my first experience of understanding the larger world was that when I was 16, I had a near-death experience. I actually died for 2 minutes, and I didn't want to come back. I was very happy being out there. But the thing that I want to share was that I was dead. I was not in my body. I was floating in some underground cavern, but I was still me. And the first joke I cracked, because I think of myself as being a funny person, was, "Oh, great, I don't see any of my relatives." You know,
Was that a good thing?
in that case, yes, for me, it was an excellent thing. And, I was 16 or whatever. So, I mean, you don't get along with your parents no matter whether they're good or bad people. It's just that's the age. And the fact that I was dead and cracked a joke made me feel really good about, things. And yeah. Okay. So anyway, so when I came back and I woke up, I no longer feared death, because I understood what was going on, because I had died and I had literally died, but I was still myself on the other side. And I realized that I think that's what other people fear, is not that at the end is the end of your consciousness. And we confuse that with the end of the body. And, to know that at 16 is pretty cool.
Definitely. That's such a young age to have an experience like that.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't make me any smarter, and I did all the same stupid stuff I would have done anyway. However, the really great thing about the story is that I didn't know that both of my parents were atheists. Because I come from a religious Jewish family, and religion and faith are separate in that world. And they were both sick. They died within a month of each other about 10 years ago, and they were divorced, but still very bonded. And I realized that they were both terrified of death. And I have been terrified in other settings, and I know that there's nothing worse than that feeling. And so I shared my own experience of having died and having been myself on the other side. And I was able to make them both feel much calmer about their passings. And I felt like I had served, so again, you hear this word a lot when you deal with me, I had served a useful purpose, and I'd been able to, do something that was really worthwhile to, and I've had other experience, where I had a dream. My second husband, that tells you something about my life, right? I've been married 3 times. My second husband was reunited with his grandfather after 18 years, long story. And they were the spit image of each other. I mean, you came into the room and you're like, this makes no sense. But also, and I'm sure you've both had this experience often, where you kind of meet people from your tribe, whatever that means, that you recognize, that they're kindred spirits, and, you really have a sense of connection with them. And
Yep,
that's what we are. Yes, absolutely. So soon after, he became very, very ill. And I had a dream one night in which the grandfather, whose name was Arthur, appeared. And he said, I'm very sick. I'm in his, in the dream, I'm in his hospital room. And he takes my hand. He says, I want you to walk me through the door. And at the end of the hallway in this dream is a big door with a light coming through it. We all know that imagery from movies, right? And I get up and we start to walk. And I say, Arthur, I can't go through the door with you, but I can walk you to the door. And this is great. When we get to the door, and the Jew's going to make me cry, he calls out, and there's his mother. He calls out his mother's name. It was beautiful. And anyway, so I woke up and we got a call that he had just passed.
So it sounds like you had a shared death experience.
I've had a number of them. And so this idea that I understand this deeper thing informs my creative work. You know what I mean? Because you have to have a level of fearlessness, because if you can't die, then being rejected becomes very minor. It just changes the perspective. And that's why so many people don't create. And this sort of feeling that I can aid and assist people has probably been what's kept me from, becoming a very unhappy person my whole life. And, I want to continue. So my background is I grew up in New York City, Woody Allen background, sort of that Jewish intellectual thing, but, different style. It's not so ethnic, third generation. But my grandparents wrote a well-known book at the time called Faith Through Reason, which was 2 lawyers. My grandmother was also a lawyer, reconciling Judaism and Christianity in a very interesting way. It was a book that was taught for many years in comparative religions classes. So you see, I come from a background where people really think about these things and what they think makes a difference. That's the lineage, right? And so then I was a fine artist, and I don't come from a family that understands artists, because my grandfather was a movie lawyer, and people who are creative were like people that you hire. Like there's not the same reverence for creativity. Like, you want to be a what? And but the family business was the movie business, and film school had started. So I went, okay, so I'll go learn to lay carpet. I'll be a filmmaker, because that's how it was treated in my world. It was like, directors and producers were laborers. I mean, it was just, so, because it was all on the business side, right? So I got a film degree. I wrote a film. I sold it, and then worked in the business. And then I wrote a novel, which was about a serial killer and his sister, and the FBI agent tracks them down. And it was a novel about how the violence and psychopathic behavior is bred through the generations. It takes a few generations to grow a serial killer, and it was a thriller. I'm not saying that it was not literary fiction. Trust me, there was lots of blood and guts and torture and stuff. But I finished it on a Friday, and I went to a party. And I met some guy who, at that point, I was single, who hit on me and said, "Hey, baby, my best friend's a Hollywood movie producer." And I'm like, "Yeah, right." But he was. So I finished the book on Friday. I went to the party on Saturday. I sold the book, not to a publisher, but to a producer on Monday. And he then hired me to adapt it into a screenplay. I had a film school degree. Sure, no problem. However, 30 drafts later, the howdunit, because it was an exploration, of this, had become a whodunit, and you actually basically met the killer for 10 minutes at the end of this story. So I had a baptism in fire. And what happens in Hollywood, if they're not happy with you, they take your script and they give it to someone else to work on. And so that night I had a dream in which a famous mythologist named Joseph Campbell appeared to me in my dream. And he said, "You are so screwed." And I said, "Absolutely." And he said, "Well, how can I help you?" And so I'm a lucid dreamer. And I said, "What do I do worse than writing?" "Well, give me a map." I can't read maps either. What could be better? I wake up, I draw this little diagram. It turns out to be a 12-step simplification of The Hero's Journey by Joseph Campbell, which exactly fits the structure of an American narrative film, which is about a 2-hour film. It was an exact way of structuring. Remember I said about pattern recognition? I was given a pattern. It was amazing. And that map I will then now use in my new life to explain how people experience things, because it's like a Rosetta Stone, But I took this thing and I was able to rewrite my script, and the script was accepted. It never got made, but it was accepted. And eventually it came back to me, and I got my money back, and it worked out really well. And somehow someone discovered that I knew this, asked me to teach, and within 2 or 3 years, I had a full practice as a writing coach. It's one of those things that just happened. I don't know how people figured out that I knew this thing. And so then I taught animators at School of Visual Arts in New York. And then I was asked to come, and when NYU began their professional studies film department, they asked me if I would teach my book. And I went, my book? Yeah, they said, "Yeah, your book. We've been hearing about your book." I think it was my second husband again, was his day job. He's a filmmaker, but his day job was he worked as a temp for one of the big banks. So he knew how to put together, the books, the fancy pitch books that they would use to sell their properties. So he went in, took all my pieces of paper, somehow made them look pretty, and put them in a spiral binding. That's how long ago this was. You remember those old-fashioned things? And I took it into my interview, and I got hired. And NYU said, "Fine, and we'll publish your book."
Awesome.
So go forward 25 years later, there I am at Burning Man, really realizing that I have a larger purpose.
Obviously. But isn't it neat? We were talking about that at the beginning of the show before you joined us, how things just always fall into place.
I was listening
Right?
to that, and I was appreciating it very much.
It's just so beautiful how
all
it
the
all works out
timing.
in the end. Yeah, it's all about the timing. And there are things that we need to grow through before we get to the point of where we're meant to be. And it
Do I
sounds
get
like
to know a little about you too? I'm sorry to interrupt,
What?
but I'm dying to know a little bit about you two. How did you get to be here?
doing the show.
Well, in general, I mean, Natalie mentioned that she'd done extensive studying and
Yeah.
martial arts for
Go
3
ahead,
years.
Natalie.
So, I do a lot of work with grief. So I have a coaching business of my own, and my forte is I have a specialty in grief because I've been doing grief support groups, facilitating them for 13 years. I started with
Mhm.
suicide loss. So I'm in it with people. I call myself
Wow.
a human wilderness guide,
Yeah,
where
I read
I
that.
meet people in my wilderness and
Yes,
guide
I read
them.
that.
And it's profound, profound work. I was born to do it. Had my own loss almost 17 years ago, which really steeped me in understanding what grief is like. And I bring that to my groups and to my sessions with people. And then my coaching business is grounded in the human design, which itself is a map for people. So then, as a coach, I have a map of the person, of
Hmm.
how they are and how they're not. And
What
most
are you? What are you, Natalie? I'm a manifesting generator.
So I'm
So is
a
she.
emotional manifesting generator. I knew you were talking design language. I was like, I can hear your design
Cool.
language in there.
Cool. That's so
So,
cool. What are you, AJ?
I'm an emotional manifester.
Ah, okay. I get I
yeah,
get I get why you two are so good together.
yeah,
Anyway, tell me more. It's exciting to be talking the same
yes,
language.
right. So all my coaching is grounded in human design. I work with my clients, even my clients that are grief, because I through looking at their design, I can
Yes.
actually help them navigate their grief according to their nature, not their nurture. And so
Uh,
that's been I've been living my design for 7 years, so I've had my first 7-year cycle with the design, and I've just self-trained to teach it, and I've done hundreds of charts, so, I've just steeped in it. So that's the love. That's my current definite love, and it's so amazing
It
how
is.
it changes, um, that and so that I mean, that's
you are
kinda
so needed. You are so needed, Natalie.
mm,
Mhm.
thanks.
I
More and
agree.
more. And just
Yeah,
as an aside, the goal with the word of the day is to create workbooks, and grief is one of my top topics. So you and I might talk off camera at some point
that's true.
because I would
Yeah.
love to design a workbook for you.
What? Oh my gosh. Like, my life is coming true right now. Like, what?
She has so much to offer.
Ooh, that
Yeah.
I'm just vibrating with that. That's like, thank you. Okay, you're on.
Beautiful.
And what about you, AJ? How do you get to be AJ?
Oh, whew. I love this question because where do you begin, right? But I would say the very beginning of like life altering would be in 2012. I had an NDE. I wasn't spiritual, I wasn't religious. I had a really traumatic event,
What
which
happened?
abuse.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm not, but thank you. And I didn't come out of it the same, and it took me on a journey of learning more about what I had experienced and what my purpose was, which led me to helping other people heal through art therapy, which led me to different modalities in energy healing. I currently own a spiritual healing center and a metaphysical spiritual retail shop.
Yes, I
I
was reading you.
Yes. Oh, thank you. And, oh gosh, there's so much in between. When someone asks you about you, um, I'm currently so I offer crystal energy healing or readings, um, aromatherapy, and I'm almost finished with a galactic history Akashic Records reading course.
Oh,
And I've been studying end of life for about 4 or 5 years to help people through transitioning. So
wow.
my end goal is that, but learning all of these things along the way will help me with that.
So do you want to be a death doula, or what is your?
I wouldn't call myself a death doula. I think it's important to have the difficult conversations when someone is coming to the end of their human experience. We are so conditioned not to talk about death and not to be comfortable with death.
Yes.
And I'm very comfortable with death and talking about it. And so making sure that people have, I mean, there are some similarities to the death doula. We're having, their affairs in order for sure. But that's one thing. But writing letters and making connections, clearing up karma, helping people not be afraid when they transition, those things I think are really important. And they don't have people don't have a foundation to take care of those things. They're more worried about the mess they're going to leave behind, like their physical mess, or they're even just afraid, like they don't even know that what's on the other side of this human experience. So just having the opportunity to hopefully get them to a place where they're looking forward to waking up instead
Yes.
of dying. If
That's why I
that
was so happy about my parents. I'm glad I told you about my parents, because you really get why it was so important to do that.
I feel it is really important, and I've had so many people close to me that I've watched just terrified of death, like to the point it just like paralyzes them. And if you can take that fear away so that they can actually live their life to the fullest extent, to the very last minute, and not be afraid, but be excited and have something to look forward to, I think it would change a lot of experiences for people.
Sure, it would destroy the economy, because if you weren't afraid of death,
You're
then,
right.
people can't do stuff to you. You know.
Yeah.
Or dying. I think that a lot of fear comes from what's it going to be like to be in the dying process.
Right. And the connecting to the Akashic records is so important because it shares with people their purpose and what their
Sure.
life journey is all about. And it also gives them clarity of their lives past and their lives going forward. If it
Right.
resonates with them, they'd have to believe that to be true. But I think that it still gives them somewhat of a level of peace.
Also, you can make reparations. I mean,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
you can take that on. You can take that on. We all make mistakes, and if you can repair them before you go to the other side, you can have a better time over there.
Right.
Or
And being someone in between. I like Natalie works with people with grief, and so she has the aftermath of people saying, I shoulda, coulda,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I want to help people not have that when someone else transitions, including themselves. Like being so clean with one another, um, just coming to the essence of love, right? Because that is, I mean, you think about when you die, and well, you having an ND, you understand that vibration. We can talk about it as a human and give it all of the adjectives that we can give it, but nobody understands to that extent if they had not experienced what it is like on the other
Yes.
side of this experience we're having now.
Right, but that's part of the thing about the word of the day is it has this capacity to connect you so deeply with your own self. And the other part of this whole thing that I'm up to is that I think that the most vicious thing that has occurred is being separated from ourselves, literally. That we are alone on the planet, that we have to go to God. And again, if I have my way, people will go to the mirror when they and one of the therapies. Remember, I've been a writing coach for 25 years, and I've had to get a lot of high-powered people to perform under very adverse circumstances. And one of my tricks is I would have them put a mirror on their desk, and
Love
that
it.
when they look up, and I just say, we're not going to look at how much Botox you need. You're just going to wave hello and say, hi, pal. And the effect of that, I mean, and my own personal opinion is, if you could really change the culture so that people, when they were depressed, realized that they still had themselves,
Mm-hmm.
I think that you would lower the incidences of suicide and other things, because even if people didn't feel they had anything to live for, there was another person there. And I think that we all have a element of nobility that we won't abandon the people that we love. So if we loved ourselves and we wanted to die, we might not, because we would recognize that we're another person that we have to take care of.
I think there's a level to truth to that, but I also feel like some people's journeys are meant to have that opt out
Oh,
clause. Like
I'm
they
not
are,
questioning.
yeah.
I'm not
I,
questioning. I'm just saying that there are an awful lot of people who just die of
mm,
loneliness. It's not
right.
necessary.
Mirror work is
Oh,
very
yeah.
powerful. We've talked about that, and I with a lot of my clients we do mirror work because I it is so powerful.
So
It
powerful.
really can change the course of their direction just having that experience with themselves.
That's
Right?
fantastic. Can you give an example of a technique that you use? I told you one of mine. Tell me one of yours.
Are you talking to me or Natalie?
Which one of us?
I was talking to you, AJ, but you were next, Natalie.
Regarding
Like,
the mirror work,
Yeah.
well, when I've done workshops or one-on-one, I love for my clients to look in the mirror and get really uncomfortable because they do. And then watch how much they change once they really get the connection to themselves by looking into their eyes and saying something positive about themselves. Because we're so conditioned not to say nice things to us, right?
Yes,
We
that's right.
we say so many mean things to ourselves. So looking in the
Me
mirror
too.
and say right into your soul, right through your eyes, and really
Yes.
saying something, even if it's hard at first to say, your eyes are pretty, but it gets deeper the more that you practice the work. And actually, people literally break down. And it's the most beautiful, wonderful thing I ever get to witness in someone is when they get to truly see themselves the way that they never have before.
Right. Well, you could try the self hug. It's a little less invasive.
Oh, I like invasive.
I can tell.
But yeah, I like the hug.
she's
Well,
here to make an impact as a
I'm a
manifester.
manifester.
She's here for the
That's
impact.
true. What was I thinking?
Right.
Well, I think the hug is wonderful, and actually, I think incorporating that with some of the clients who really are challenged when I ask them to say something nice about themselves in the mirror would be a good place to start.
Well, let
Definitely.
me know because this is a technique that I want to share widely, but I also want people to know that I'm sharing it. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. I
Awesome. So
wouldn't take it on as my own.
No.
We always give credit where credit is due,
Yes.
and then we'll
that
refer them
makes
to the show.
that makes it very unusual. So let's hear one of yours, Natalie.
So, because I work with people with the design, the human design, I can actually explain them. So I was just looking at her body graph today and talking to this client of mine. And I just talked to her about the not self. Here's all the things that you've been doing throughout your life, and that's not you. And she's like,
Mhm.
how do you know me so well? So the ability to articulate that and look at this map and say, you've been
Mhm.
your roads. Your roads are over here, but you've been playing over here. And so
Absolutely.
that's my technique with people. And so it connects them through to their self because they see that they've been being what they're not. And that's usually what people are cursing in the mirror is
Mhm.
that aspect that they've been living, which is the nurture, which is someone else,
Mhm.
which is not
Right.
them. And so we have to notice, like with the mirror work, it's a different kind of mirror that we're
Mhm.
doing. It's like, hey,
Sure.
that thing that you picked up from someone else that you've been carrying that you hate about yourself is
Yes.
not you.
Exactly.
Yes.
And you can just let go of that
Human
because it wasn't
design
you anyway.
really is powerful.
Oh, I know. It
Yeah.
just can change. If it's for someone, it's not for everyone, but I've had some clients that just haven't it hasn't completely settled in, but a lot of clients that are like, "What?" And I watch them just become themselves, and it's so beautiful.
And
Imagine.
instantly for some of them, it's really neat. Natalie shares space with me at in the shop that we're together in, and just watching the people transition from going into the session and coming out of the session, even the first time. If they get it, they get it, and their whole energy is just significantly different.
I know
We
it's
do
magical.
happy dances when clients leave.
Yeah.
It's just so much fun. It's so much fun helping people become better versions of themselves, true versions
That's
of themselves.
that
It's the
that that
best.
should be your motto. Become a better version of yourself.
I think that was on one of my business cards.
Excellent. All
Oh,
right.
really?
2 years ago. Yeah, I think that was on one of my, maybe not my first, but probably my second thing. That's like, I'm here to help you become a better version of yourself. Yep.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. When you work with your clients, Marilyn, you have the hug technique. Um, what what is a memorable moment you've had with someone that's actually been so profound when they've had that experience?
I have a
You-
good story. I'm in the process of building something that is larger than the book. I mean, I want to have a company that puts out that creates these tools, that generates these experiences. In the new book I told you about, I'm also I just finished it. It's being kindled as we speak, and it's also going to be translated into Spanish because my friend who rescued the abused wife loves some of the material, and he wants to teach it in Latin America. So we're going to take it out widely. Having said that, so two stories. The first one is that I taught him the self-hug. Now I have a lot of, I'm basically a thinking engineer. That's the best way to describe what I do. So I have ways of getting people to change how they think. And what happens is, you both know this because it's what you do. We're all in the same, thing. Once you get someone to change their perspective, it stays changed, and it's miraculous. People just change like on the spot. So he was a guy who was suffering from binging, eating like late at night binging and eating, and he was about 20 pounds overweight, and he had always had this problem, and he'd been in therapy for 14 years, no luck. And once he saved the lady from the abusive husband, he opened up and he told me about it, and I taught him a technique which I call plan your escape, and it's a technique again very similar to the human design model, where you basically create a map. It's not as organized. I'm not. I wish I was as organized as you were, Natalie. I'm a little more, scraps of paper scribbled in corners, but basically we were able to come up with an exit plan for him. And once he realized what the stressors were, and once he could reason, remember this thing earlier I said about there's a different way to deal with the biological imperative, the inner critic. I have a different approach to the whole thing, highly effective. And so once he began to reason, he began to respect himself, because he's like, wow, I don't take drugs, I don't hit anybody, I don't drink. So I eat a little too much pizza, so sue me. And the moment he got there, he chillaxed. You saw a complete change in his beingness, because he realized that, considering what he was dealing with, because, again, like you have to sit there and say, well, this is what you're dealing with. He was like, wow, it's amazing. That's the only thing I do. And once again, this is the self-acknowledgement, thing that is the basis of the word of the day. Once he acknowledged that he was actually doing quite well, instead of doing horribly as he had thought for the last, large number of years, he just stopped overeating. And he lost 15 pounds in 90 days.
Just like that.
Just like that, because he got a different viewpoint about who he was. So that's one story. Second story is the guy I'm doing this quite seriously. So I hired this guy who does public relations, who's pretty amazing. He's a cool guy, and he's in his late 70s. And he came on my webinars. By the way, I do give these bi-weekly free webinars. I hope you'll tell your folks about them, because we do the practice, so you get a chance to experience it.
You'll get
I've been
to
doing
tell them.
yeah, I've been doing them. I've been doing it since the pandemic to help writers, and so I've just kept up the tradition. They're free. They're every 2 weeks. They're an hour, and we do the practice. And so he came on just to see what potentially he might be working on, and he did the self hug, much to his embarrassment. He's a very straight-laced guy. He plays golf. You get the picture, right? And but he God bless him, he did it. And he completely had a spiritual experience. He was like, wow. And the next day, or a couple of days later, he had one of his colleagues come in who was in a terrible state, and he did the practice. And again, the practice is just one of the many techniques that we use. And he did the practice and a couple of other techniques, basically repeated at the workshop, and he was able to transform his client. And he said to me, he said, I'm an old guy, and I don't really, I never had a sense that I could learn new things and that I had much life in front of me. Oh, it made me cry. And he said, I am now full of hope.
Yeah. See, that's why
beautiful.
we do what we do.
Right.
right? It's
Right?
just magic. It really is. Thank you for sharing those with us. Your earrings are gorgeous, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I just
Catching
bought
my
them today.
attention.
I know, aren't they
Oh,
great?
yeah.
They were, they're like thrift shop things. But I know I'm like looking in the mirror going, yeah, they're really long.
They're fun. Perfect. They're catching my eye.
Thank you so much.
So, word of the day for those of you who are just joining us, because we do have some people join us in the second hour. I just want to make sure they know what we're talking about. Word of the day: transform your writing in 15 minutes a day. But it's not just about writing, as we've been learning. It's also about a spiritual practice. It's also about creativity. It's also about connecting to your higher self. All of these good things. It kind of is deceiving how deep you're actually going, because word of the day written for those who want to write a book or write whatever, it is so much more than that. And I'm so glad, because this pertains to everybody listening.
Thank you for understanding that. You have actually, I mean, you have made my week at least. To be understood and to be received by like-minded people, is pretty special.
Oh, we
Thank you so
agree.
much for the
We
recognition.
agree. I had a good feeling about you. I was like, yes, I think she needs to be on the show. Definitely, for sure. So, you shared with us some ways how word of the day can be used, how the practice can be used. Um, what are some ways that also word of the day can be used? Because I know it's much more than just writing a book or developing or enhancing your creativity. How can it work in a spiritual practice?
That's a great question. Well, the point is, as soon as you do the self-acknowledgement hug, you've had a spiritual experience because you've reconnected to your higher self. I mean, that's
Yeah.
I mean, I've studied, my interest is in consciousness, and I've extensively studied the brain, which is why, when we did it, the movements are so specific because it's all about how when you move your body, the brain chemicals. I've studied Reiki, I've studied Alexander technique. I'm certified in Tao Yin Yoga, which is Thai yoga. So again, like you, I've studied many modalities, and what I have come to the conclusion with is that there is only one innate feeling of happiness, in the sense that happy, sad, whatever, and that we accomplished that when we first did that. And then so the idea is that if you, again, this is all about control. You were talking about it at the opening, and I was laughing. I'm going, okay, this is definitely meant to be, because this is the whole subtext of this
Isn't that
conversation.
crazy how
We
that
we
works?
always just tend to organically connect to what we're going to be talking about with our guests.
I love it.
So interesting. So again, it's so the idea, and I'm a person who wants to be in control. I didn't have the kind of childhood that you would feel trusting afterwards, and so I wanted to be the boss of me, in all ways. And so the idea of what control meant, because remember, you can tell I come from this religious family, a lot of a philosophy professor who taught the philosophy of Zen and the philosophy of psychology, and a big thinking brain family. And I wanted to get solutions, because my mother had this huge wall of philosophy books, and I read them all, and I was like, but mom, no one ever does anything, they just talk about thinking.
It's so
Yeah.
true. It is so true.
And I'm like,
Not
I'm gonna
doing, just thinking.
I'm gonna write books about things that actually work, that solve these problems. In other words, so you read enough existentialism, you read Martin Buber, you read all these people having these identity crises, and frankly, forgive me, but I just thought it was a lot of masturbatory hoo-ha. And and at the end of having read thousands of books, I'm like, do the F and self hug, please. Just and I mean, I have the intellectual credentials to be able to be this, dismissive, and I am. And I'm just like, come on. There's only one feeling of happiness is a neurobiological state in which you are not having an argument with yourself inside. That's an easy way to describe it.
Oh, that's a great definition.
Well, coming from a human design personality, you're right. You totally get what I'm saying, right?
Yes. You're like, I'm just watching myself have its experience. I'm good. This is a lovely movie. Or sometimes it's horrific. But it's a movie. Wow, that's good. Don't take it too serious.
Mhm.
All right, so that's so you asked me, so that's really so the idea is, what do you have control over? Okay, you have control over your, if you understand that your thoughts create your feelings, and you understand that you are completely brainwashed, and so it's unlikely that you're ever going to get much control over your thoughts, and that all this meditating and zazen stuff is not natural. I mean, it can work, but it's the mind likes to think. That's what it likes to do. So you need to give them something better to think about and something to do. And to me, the idea is, okay, so we've all spent years learning how to do this. We spent hours meditating. We've done all this stuff. And I'm like, let's get over it. Let's get up in the morning. The way that you do the practice, the perfect practice is as follows. You wake up in the morning, you do the self-hug in bed. No, you don't put a mirror on your ceiling. You just close your eyes. And I mean, though you can. I mean, although,
It may already be there.
and they already be there. I love it. And then I love it. And then you have a pad next to your bed. And maybe if the mirror is already on your ceiling, the word sex is what you write in the middle of your circle.
Maybe.
But it might also be blue or something else. But the idea is, the first thing you do is you go, oh, wow, I love you. We'll always be together. We'll always be safe. You have the feeling of the plug going in the socket, right? That the toaster going into the socket, and now you can make your toast with yourself. And then now you immediately, without thinking about it, train yourself to create by putting that word in a circle. Right in the beginning was the word. The moment you put that word in a circle, you have begun a story. You've begun a new story, a narrative, something that never existed, because we're hardwired for pattern. That one word will lead you to a pattern of a whole story. That's just how the brain works. And so you get out of bed 2 minutes later, you've already made up a story. You've reconnected with yourself. And now, someone says to you, I want you to sit down and meditate for a half hour. You're going to go, are you kidding me? I want to go to the gym. I want to go get some cookies. And I think that at a certain point in our lives, we have to understand that spiritual practice should be almost like breathing.
I agree.
And so the other part of the practice is the time management thing. Is once you connect with yourself, then suddenly the next thing that you do in the book and as a practice is you find out how you would like to spend your day creatively. And then you, at the end of the day, you do another circle, and you start to, usually quite painfully, discover how little time you've actually given to the thing that you most want to do. And once people have this, again, because remember I told you the circles do things to the brain chemicals. In other words, it's very technical why this works in a different way. But the idea is that what happens is, and I'll tell you two stories again if I have time. So, okay, first story is one of my students had two huge bulldogs that was dying, a very demanding husband, and they had a big landscaping business that was very successful. And she wanted to write a children's book for her grandchildren, but somehow it didn't really happen. And she would come on the webinars, and she was my friend, so we would do the practice every day together. And one day she called me up and she said, I realized that I watch an hour of the news every morning. I could be writing. And so she did. But no one, this is what I mean about control and power. No one told her anything. No one gave her any advice. She did not have to read a book on time management or, setting up a schedule. Organically, because she was becoming a better version of herself, Natalie, she found her own way. Other story is a personal story about me. I am such a busy person. I do a lot of things. I invest, I trade, I teach, I write, I paint. I'm a tango dancer. I work out, lots of other things. And I do a lot of other things. And I didn't have any time. So there's a wonderful book that I recommend called The Now Habit by a guy named Neil Fiore, who is surprisingly very spiritual. This is a fantastic book. And it was so good. I thought maybe he could help me because no one else could. I read,
dozens of books on this, right?
I have this book in my wish list.
See?
I just went to go add it, but it's already there.
Well, don't make it a list. By the way, I like his other book, Practical Solutions to Everyday Problems, which you can get on Audible. It's shorter and much better. I recommend it. Anyway, so I hired him because I thought I am a hopeless case. I am lost. I'm going to spend the rest of my life in misery, never getting all of anything done. So I get on the phone, and he's expensive, right? And so we have the session, and he says, "What do you do every day, Marilyn?" And I tell him. At the end of the session, I go, "Okay, doctor, what's your prescription? Can you save me?" He says, "Yeah, you got to stop doing one thing." I went, "I can't do that." He goes, "Okay, fine, I'll talk to you in 2 weeks." So I hang up, and I think about that. It had never occurred to me to do that. All right, that I would actually stop something that I did. Right, I just kept adding things.
You just add
So
and add and add.
I know you feel me on this one, right?
I feel you.
So all right, so here's what happened. So my other career back in the day was I was a chef. I was a cook, and I cook. I mean, I'm like I'm one of those people that I go to the bar. I mean, it was a thing, but I realized that it was taking up about 2 hours a day because I was a cook. You chop the vegetables, you go to the market, you do stuff, and I thought, okay, I'm divorced. This is great. I'm going to stop cooking. But I never did it consciously. Just somehow it occurred. And in New York, you have like food deliveries. I mean, it's very easy. You can get organic food. You don't have to do anything if you can pay for it. And even it's relatively, for a single person, the economics work out in a nice, sensible, frugal way. So I get on the phone with him 2 weeks later, and he goes, what'd you give up? And I went, I stopped cooking. I didn't do it consciously. There was no awareness. It was just like my friend with the TV hour. I had no awareness, and that's how I know this stuff works, because I am my own worst pupil, my worst customer, the person I can never repair. But this was a case where, I realized that the word of the day had worked. I had somehow found a way to still eat very well and not spend 2 hours a day cooking. So those are my.
Well, it's because the form you just surrender to what the form and let the form navigate, and it just then it reorients you to the path that you were ought to been on anyway, because the mind just guides us way off path.
Well, it's actually the brain that's the problem. Not the mind has its own problems, but the brain is really the thing that keeps you on the wrong path because it's the safe path. This is the survival. You make stupid decisions when you're afraid of death.
Sure. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Fear and anxiety.
Fear makes us stupid. Well, anxiety is just a marketing term. That means they can give you drugs for your fear. That's what anxiety is.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
All right. So one of the things that I've done over 25 years, and I'll share this because you're both, and I'm sure you have your own methodologies. I basically go around with a little pin when people come in and they tell me they have problems. I'm like, so people will come in, they say, I can't write, I've got writer's block. And I'd say, oh, I'm so sorry, but could you just do me a favor? And I'd hand them a piece of paper with a little square in the center. And I'd say, could you just write a word in there for me? Of course they would write a word. I'd say, you don't have writer's block.
Just put a word in a block.
Write just perfectly fine.
I'm sure, I know you both have versions of this. And so the other one is people would come in, they'd say, oh, I'm so anxious, blah, 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 blah. And I would say, I'm sure that your therapist is going to be able to retire off your anxiety. How about we have a different conversation? All right. Let's have a conversation about fear. Okay. Not anxiety. In what way are you actually in danger aside from the stupidity that is generated by fear? And aside from the fear itself, what are your dangers? And I would very often have a good success with that because people would realize that free-floating anxiety is just storytelling, and it's a bad habit, right? And I would say, let's take your anxiety, and why don't you write that screenplay you're so anxious about, and just put all the anxiety and the fear right in the story.
Very true.
So I'm a big believer. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
So,
no, you're good. I'm just saying, would you think that a word of the day would be similar to meditation in a way?
Well, in my opinion, it's better than meditation because it doesn't take as long. And because if you are a seasoned meditator, you already have the brain chemicals, so that the word of the day, boom. I told you, it's a portal. I remember I can sit there and do the science with you and you'd fall asleep. But the point is, this thing moves the chemicals in your brain in a certain way opens a certain channel that you can't get at even when you're asleep. This is what's amazing about this thing is magic. And then boom, you plug in and you're in the meditative state. You've attained, in other words, the thing that we did with the self-acknowledgement hug, you were in a deep meditative state.
You were focused.
That's what that's the goal. That's what you're going for. So you know, I told you I'm an engineer. I found a better way to do it quicker. You know, it's a shorter bridge over the span, over the river, you know. So the answer to your question is that the word of the day is a Swiss Army knife of a tool. And what I will be developing is some kind of course or workbook or some procedure where it can be applied. Like, for example, my friend I told you, who is a traditionally trained Freudian psychoanalyst, is dying to add my creativity techniques and teach them to his fellow colleagues because he has had such an incredible success with his clients and himself. And I am excited. You know, the way I've always been successful, and you understand this because I'm a woman in a man's world. Okay, this whole screenwriting business is very macho. Was that I always said, hey, whatever you're doing, my stuff will help you do it better. So I never had to get into a peeing contest with some other script coach who had his own method because I just didn't need to. It was just it was martial arts. It was just and
right.
so right so it's good for everything. I mean, my assistant, who has a lot of stuff going on, for ill parents and stuff like that, she uses it whenever she gets stressed out. It's now her go-to.
I can see how that would be. And also, I think it would really, I haven't practiced it. Obviously, this is the first time I'm hearing about it, but like really thinking about how it works, it would really help you develop your intuition as well.
Yeah, because you immediately are connected with your intuition.
Mm-hmm. That's powerful.
It sounds like what I believe, like you're in a body. That the body can only be in the now. It's the only place it can exist is in the now. Mm-hmm. So when you get in the body, you're in now. It's a shift.
Yeah, definitely.
So many people are so aware, and that's evident with the technique, how easy it is to bring people into the now where you can act from, because you can't act from the past or the future. There's nowhere, you just can't.
The power of now.
But remember
Speaking of the power of, go ahead, Marilyn.
No, you go ahead. This is your show.
I was going to say, speaking of the power of now, we only have a few more minutes in the now. I just looked at the time and realized, like, we are running short on it.
It's happening now.
Go ahead and share what you want to share. And then I want to make sure everybody has the opportunity to learn more about you as far as all of your connections. But go ahead.
Okay. So what I just wanted to say to you, AJ, is you it's not that you haven't done the practice. You have now done the practice. The point is, will you continue to do the practice?
It's a good question.
Right. It's too late. You already did it.
Too late.
I didn't fully immerse myself into the practice tonight. I didn't realize, it was just a lot going on. The show, Natalie. I'm definitely going to go back and listen to that part so I can have the experience for myself.
Well, we sent you the books, right? Did Gavin send you books?
No books, but he may have sent a PDF. I'll have to go and look. Sometimes he does that, but I haven't looked.
Okay. If not, if you would like, I can send you the PDF tomorrow. Just I'll just send me your email and I'll send you each a copy of the the PDF, and you can do the practice.
Thank you. We'll talk about that right after the show, but because we're short on time, I want to make sure everyone knows your website, and then we've been flashing your website and socials, but not everyone sees the video. So go ahead and verbally share some of that information.
Okay. So my website is marilynhorowitz.com, MarilynHorowitz.com. I offer a weekly webinar. We have a newsletter, which I would love for you to sign up, that has tips and tricks. It's about writing. It's about word of the day. It's about spiritual practices. And we're always interested to have guest bloggers. So either you ladies would like to write about what you're up to, I would be honored. We have about 2,000 people that read this, and I have like a 40% open rate. So it's quite a thing. And I'm very proud of that. On the website is everything you could want to know. We offer a bi-weekly webinar. We had one tonight. The next one will be in 2 weeks, whatever. I think it's the 22nd, and it's from 7 to 8 EST. And you can go look on my website. You can sign up for it there. If you sign up for my newsletter, we send out all kinds of things. And the book is available on Amazon, but it's a whopping $12.95. I think it's a really good investment. And if you go to Amazon, here's the trick. It's called Word of the Day, not the Word of the Day. So if you put in the Word of the Day, you will never find it. You have to put in Word of the Day by Horowitz, and then it comes up. That's the one. So you see, there's no article in the beginning. There's no the.
Mm-hmm.
And I recommend it now. Now the reviews that we've been getting, just as the last thing I want to say, is that people have been starting to use it with their kids.
Oh,
And
yeah, that would be a great practice.
they're finding it highly effective in helping kids who, have their own learning issues not have them. And I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on TikTok, I am on X, and I don't know, I'm going to go check out Rumble and see what's up with that.
Free speech is what's up with that. And that's why we are here.
Yes.
Gosh,
Thank
we've learned so much from you and also had some beautiful reminders. And just being in your energy has been a lot of fun, Marilyn. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you for having me, and thank you. I feel the same way about you two ladies. Being in your energy is exciting.
Thank you. Yeah, just stay close right after this and we'll be able to talk some more. But
Will do.
listeners, next week, Natalie and I have a show for you.
We do.
We do. No guests, just Natalie and I, and we have some things to share. So we hope that you join us. We would love to have you as always. We're so grateful for all of your support, and we'll see you all next week. Until then, be good to yourself and to each other. Good night, everyone.
Have a good one.